Homecoming, my name is Ethan Hayes, and I've never been the type to keep things bottled up. My girlfriend must have forgotten that. Or maybe 3 years of me being gentle made her forget who I was when we first met. The jolt of the plane landing woke me from a dead sleep. I rubbed my temples. 3 months on an overseas research project were finally over. The only person I wanted to see was my girlfriend, Chloe, the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I pictured the look on her face, that spark of joy, the release of a 3-month-long ache of missing each other. Finally back, I muttered, pulling out my phone to text her. I saw that the message I'd sent last night with my arrival time and flight number was still marked as unread. I frowned, my thumb hovering over the screen for a moment before I typed out another one. Hey, I just landed. See you soon. Waiting for my luggage, I kept checking my phone, but the chat window remained silent. A knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach, quickly souring into resentment. The arrivals gate was a sea of people, but her familiar face wasn't among them. My heart sank. I tried to tell myself her phone probably died, or maybe she was stuck in traffic. We met 2 years ago at an industry conference. Chloe, in a white dress, her eyes curving into crescent moons when she smiled, listening intently as I explained my product design philosophy. Later, in a deserted hallway as the event was winding down, I found her cornered by a group of aggressive guys. I took on all 5 of them. It wasn't even a contest. I walked away the MVP of that little skirmish and got her out of it. She asked for my number, and we fell in love fast. I remember Chloe once telling me what she loved most about me was my honesty. You never make me guess what you're thinking, she'd said, her eyes crinkling as she smiled. Being with you is so easy. No mind games. Dragging my suitcase toward the rideshare pickup area, a grim certainty settled in. She wasn't coming. I stared out at the airport traffic, my hand touching the gift box in my jacket pocket. It was a custom necklace I'd had made for her in Milan, a snowflake pendant formed from her initials. Golden Elm Estates, please, I told the driver, deciding to go straight home and surprise her. As the car pulled away from the airport, I tried calling Chloe again. The same cold, automated voice. I scrolled through my phone's calendar. Today wasn't an anniversary or any special date. Confused, I suddenly remembered a strange call from her last month. Ethan, she'd said, her voice bright and cheerful in my memory. Kevin wants to borrow our house for his birthday party next month. You're cool with that, right? Absolutely not. I remembered answering, my voice sharp. That's our future home, not a frat house. Besides, you know I can't stand Kevin. Oh, don't be so stingy. Kevin's like a brother to me. She cooed, then hung up before I could say anything else. My heart hammered against my ribs. I quickly pulled up the profile of Kevin Foster, a guy I hadn't spoken to in ages. The background of his latest post was unmistakably the living room of my house. Balloons and streamers completely ruined the minimalist Scandinavian design I'd spent months perfecting. A crowd of people were raising their glasses, and there was Chloe in a backless mini dress, leaning against Kevin, the two of them laughing intimately. I dialed Chloe's number again. This time, she answered, her voice drowned out by noise. Hey, Ethan, I'm at Kevin's birthday party. It's a little loud. Are you back? Get them the hell out of my house. What? Get out? I can't hear you. I've been so busy setting this up. I didn't see your messages. You're not mad, are you? You're the best. I'll make it up to you when you get back, sweetie. Sweetie? Are you kidding me? I was losing my coherence. See, I knew you'd understand. You're the best. I love you so much. I was past anger now, grinding my teeth. But it got worse. Kevin said you don't like him, and it's his birthday, and you must be exhausted from your flight. It's not a good time for you to come home and try to rest. Why don't you just get a hotel for the night? Get some rest, and I'll come pick you up tomorrow. Is he out of his goddamn mind? He knows I hate him, and he's throwing a party in my house. Ethan, don't be angry. You know how he is. Let's not stoop to his level. Just get some sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow. Before I could respond, the line went dead. Son of a bitch, I spat, startling the driver, who glanced at me in the rearview mirror. A hot rage burned through me. Step on it, I said, my voice low as my temples throbbed. Golden Elm Estates, number 8. I'll double the fare if you get me there as fast as you can. You got it, the driver said, sensing the storm brewing in the back seat and flooring it. But rush hour traffic doesn't bend to the will of an angry man. A 20-minute drive stretched into an hour. Every minute spent waiting felt like a hot poker searing my flesh. The driver must have noticed I was unraveling. Hey man, take it easy. Women, you know. If it works, it works. If it don't, it's over. Just don't do anything stupid. I was surprised by his perception and managed a grim smile. He flinched. I caught my reflection in the window, bloodshot eyes, a vein bulging on my forehead. I looked like Hellboy, just missing the horns. Anger really does turn you into a monster. Finally, I was standing in front of my own house. I pressed my thumb to the fingerprint scanner, but an error tone blared. I tried the keypad code. Failed. The thunderous music and laughter from inside completely drowned out my pounding on the door. Chloe, open the door. I hammered the solid wood, my knuckles aching, but got no response. I pulled out my phone. It took more than a dozen calls before she picked up. Ethan, did you make it to the hotel? Chloe's voice was bubbly and distant, lost in the party's noise. Fuck the hotel. I'm at the front door. Open this damn door right now. I had never sworn at Chloe before, but the rage was a volcano I couldn't contain. A few seconds of silence on the other end. Ethan, how can you talk to me like that? My friends and Kevin are all here. I don't care who's there. Open the door. I cut her off. You're just angry right now. Go rest. I'll give you a special reward tomorrow. She was still using that tone, like she was talking to a child. I hung up and stormed over to the garage. My toolbox was there. I found a sledgehammer, returned to the front door, and, without a second of hesitation, swung it at the electronic lock. A bit of the fury subsided with each blow, but then I remembered I was destroying my own property, and the anger surged back even stronger. Crack, crunch, crack. The sound of metal crunching finally got their attention. The music cut off, and the door was yanked open. Ethan, are you insane? Chloe stood there, her makeup perfect, her cheeks flushed with alcohol. She stared in disbelief at the hammer in my hand and the mangled lock. I didn't say a word. I walked inside and smashed the interior deadbolt for good measure. I didn't answer her, just pushed past her and walked into the living room. She stumbled and fell to the floor. I didn't even look back. The scene in front of me made my blood run cold. My imported leather sofa, which I meticulously picked out, was stained with spilled drinks. The marble coffee table was scarred with cigarette burns. The carpet was a minefield of food scraps and footprints. And the oil painting we'd bought together in Venice was gone from the wall. What's your problem, dude? Buzzkill. Some girl with heavy makeup muttered. I shot her an icy glare. The rest of her sentence died in her throat as she swallowed hard, choking on her own saliva. Cough, cough, cough. Ethan Hayes, how could you do this to Chloe? Kevin Foster stepped forward, draping his arm casually around Chloe's shoulders. Can't you be a little more gentle? Chloe, you okay? Kevin was half a head shorter than me, and he had to look up, his eyes full of challenge. When I ignored him, he got louder. You should get on your knees and apologize to Chloe right now, or I won't let her forgive you. He was wearing my limited edition basketball jersey, a collector's item I barely wore myself. My gaze shifted from Kevin's face to the hand on Chloe's shoulder. He was still running his mouth, lecturing me. Chloe, emboldened by his defense, looked at him with shining eyes, then turned to me. Ethan, I know you're tired from your trip, but you can't treat me like this. You hurt me. Her friends chimed in. I can't believe this is the kind of guy Chloe found. He's such a loser. Seriously, so embarrassing. No class at all. He might have money, but look at him. He's a psycho. He doesn't deserve Chloe. Kevin is so much better. He's gentle and caring with her. Hearing this, Chloe seemed to have a flicker of doubt. Don't say that. Ethan is really good to me. Kevin, seeing I hadn't said a word, got bolder and stepped right up to me, grabbing my collar. Chloe, stop defending him. Look at this guy. He's pure violence. How could he possibly deserve you? If he doesn't apologize today, we won't let him off the hook. I looked at Kevin's hand on my shirt, and suddenly I smiled. It turns out you really can laugh when you're past the point of fury. Who the hell do you think you are? I grabbed an empty beer bottle from a nearby table. Seeing my movement, Chloe must have remembered the night I saved her. Ethan, she started to say, but before she could finish, my arm was already in motion. The bottle shattered over Kevin's head. Then a front kick sent the idiot sprawling to the floor. I felt like a goddamn action hero, and for a moment, the rage finally cooled. Chloe's scream echoed through the house. The break. Everyone went silent. The chaotic noise of the party vanished, replaced by a deafening quiet. Chloe scrambled over to Kevin, who was clutching his bleeding forehead. Ethan, are you crazy? Look, he's bleeding. I watched the scene coldly, then took out my phone and dialed the number for a cleaning service. I need a crew of 20 at number 8, Golden Elm Estates. Yeah, right now. I'll pay whatever it takes. Hanging up, I scanned the room of stunned guests. My voice was terrifyingly calm. Are you all going to get out on your own? Or do I need to call people to throw you out? Chloe's scream nearly split my eardrums. She was on her knees, frantically pressing napkins to the gash on Kevin's forehead. The white paper quickly turned crimson. Ethan Hayes, have you lost your mind? Chloe looked up, tears welling in her eyes, but not for me. How could you hit him? I didn't answer her, just stared down the room of strangers. Chloe, I'm talking to all of you. That includes you. My voice dropped. And I reserve the right to sue every one of you for the damages to my house. Once I've tallied the cost, you'll all be receiving a bill. Panic erupted. Chloe's so-called friends immediately started distancing themselves. This has nothing to do with us. Chloe and Kevin invited us. Kevin, holding his head, his eyes darting around, whined, Chloe, see? He's worried about a few broken things at a time like this. He doesn't love you. Chloe looked at me, her expression wounded. Ethan, if you act like this, I'll never forgive you. My gaze swept over the trashed living room and landed on the limited edition jersey Kevin was wearing. A collector's piece it had taken me half a year to get, something I treasured too much to wear often. Everybody out, I said. My voice wasn't loud, but it silenced the room. Now, Chloe's friends exchanged nervous glances. Some were already grabbing their bags, trying to slip away unnoticed. Only Kevin was still groaning on the floor, with Chloe shielding him. Ethan, just calm down. Chloe's tones softened, falling back on her usual manipulative sweetness. Kevin's hurt. I have to take him to the hospital. Can we talk about this tomorrow? A laugh escaped my lips, but it held no warmth. Tomorrow? No, Chloe, there's nothing left to talk about. We're done. She stared at me, shocked. Don't say things you don't mean, Ethan. You're just angry. I'm taking Kevin to the hospital, and we'll talk when I get back. I bent down and picked up a shattered picture frame from the floor. It was a photo of us from a ski trip up north last year. A crack in the glass ran straight through Chloe's smiling face. Before you go, tell him to take off that jersey, I said, pointing at Kevin. It's mine. Chloe's face flushed red, then went pale. Ethan, Kevin is bleeding, and you're worried about a shirt? When did you become so petty? The word petty was the final straw. It obliterated the last shred of affection I had for our relationship. I thought about how, just a few hours ago, I'd been so excited to see her. And now I was ending it all. Was it because I was petty? No. When I took a step back, looked at our relationship from the outside, the signs had always been there. Kevin had been a constant presence. He wasn't around when we first met, but as soon as we got serious, he appeared. Chloe told me he was the big brother she'd grown up with. Whenever we planned a trip, she'd ask for his opinion. The anniversary and birthday gifts she gave me, she'd tell me Kevin helped her pick them out. She was always sharing stories about their childhood. But when I was with her, all I wanted to do was plan our future. I didn't want to hear about Kevin. I told her that more than once, but she always just laughed it off. She'd squint her eyes, smiling, and say, You're so possessive. You just love me that much, don't you? Back then, blinded by love, I dismissed it as nostalgia. I thought their bond was just a childhood thing. But over time, Kevin started popping up in our lives like a jack-in-the-box. He'd call her late at night on our anniversary, claiming he needed help. He'd tag along with her and her friends to parties. One time, Chloe came home late, reeking of alcohol. I laid down the law then, told her I didn't like Kevin, and demanded they keep their distance. Fueled by booze, she screamed at me. She apologized when she was sober and actually seemed to change, cutting back on her contact with him. Until this trip, they had gone back to their old ways, talking on the phone occasionally. But thinking back now, they probably never really stopped. I just hadn't seen it. God, I was an idiot. Today was just the spark. The resentment and conflict had been building for years. When I said I loved you, I meant it. And now, when I say I don't love you anymore, I mean that too. I pulled out my phone again, my face a mask of indifference. Don't need to call the police? Trespassing, destruction of private property. At the mention of the police, Kevin scrambled to his feet, tore off the jersey, and threw it on the floor. Chloe, let's go. Ethan's lost his mind. Chloe looked from Kevin to me, and in the end, chose to help Kevin out the door. As she passed me, she whispered, Ethan, wait for me to come back. I didn't answer, just stepped aside to let them pass. Watching her carefully support Kevin, a wave of absurdity washed over me. This was my home, and my girlfriend was helping another man escape from it. I had truly loved Chloe, and my heart felt like it was bleeding out. But as I watched her walk away with him, I felt a strange, chilling calm. 20 minutes later, the cleaning crew arrived. The woman in charge saw the wreckage and gasped. Mr. Hayes, did you get robbed? Something like that, I said with a bitter laugh. Let's get started. I want the whole house deep cleaned. Anything that doesn't belong to me, pack it up and put it by the door. Especially the women's clothes and items in the master closet. Box it all up. I went into my home office, closed the door, and let out a long sigh, rubbing my aching eyes. 3 years of my life, 3 years of building something together, gone in a flash. It would be a lie to say it didn't hurt, but I refused to be a victim. If she truly loved me, if she trusted me and chose me, we never would have ended up here. I opened my laptop and started going through the last few years of photos and files. The more I looked, the colder I felt. Kevin was everywhere. Our anniversary, my birthday, even our family Christmas party last year. He was there. Meanwhile, her Instagram feed had fewer and fewer posts about me. At 3 in the morning, the cleaning was mostly done. I paid the crew and sat alone in the newly spotless living room, staring at the boxes of Chloe's belongings stacked by the door. The house was empty. I walked through every room, the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, every place that held our memories. My chest was tight with a mix of emotions. When I walked into the master closet, her side was completely empty. I opened the wardrobe doors and froze. Hanging inside were several articles of men's clothing, none of them mine. It was painfully obvious whose they were. A bitter taste filled my mouth. I pulled out my phone and accessed the indoor security camera footage. The video showed Kevin arriving with a suitcase over 20 days ago. Chloe had set him up in the guest room on the first floor. They cooked breakfast together, ate dinner together. They'd drink wine, dance closely, even kiss in a drunken haze. Everything short of sleeping in the same bed. They had done it all, living like a married couple. It looked so cozy, so perfect, and it made me want to vomit. Whatever lingering shred of affection I had for Chloe was gone. She wasn't worth it. 3 days later, Chloe finally showed up at my door. She was dressed to the nines in the blue dress I always loved, carrying a tiramisu from my favorite bakery. She pressed her finger to the new smart lock, expecting it to open, but an error tone blared. Frowning, she tried the keypad code. Failed. Ethan Hayes. Open this door. She kicked the solid wood, leaving a dent from her expensive shoe. I know you're in there. The door opened. I was standing there in sweatpants, a toothbrush in my mouth. I kept brushing my teeth as I asked, "What's up? Why did you change the code?" Chloe tried to push past me, but I blocked her way. "It's my house," I said, my voice flat. "Here for your stuff?" "It's already packed." I gestured to the side. Chloe finally noticed the stacks of boxes in the entryway. Her designer bags, her makeup, her clothes, all neatly categorized. The efficiency was so. "Ethan," and it sent a chill down her spine. "What is this? You're breaking up with me?" Her voice rose, sharp and shrill. "Over one party? Ethan, are you even a man?" I pulled a piece of paper from my pocket. "This is an itemized list. Check it to make sure everything's there. I've already called a moving company. They'll be here in 2 hours to help you." "Loose ends, I'm not signing it." Chloe screamed, slamming the cake on the ground. Cream splattered on her dress. "I don't agree to this breakup." She lunged at me, grabbing the collar of my shirt. "Who are you to make this decision on your own? I gave you the best years of my life." I stood perfectly still, letting her hit me. "A breakup isn't a divorce, Chloe. It doesn't take two people to agree. And whose youth isn't precious?" When she finally stopped, panting, I spoke again, my voice calm. "We're done, Chloe. It was over the day you let Kevin Foster move into our home. You made your choice then." "Nothing happened between us," she insisted, her face ashen. "It's not just about sex, Chloe. You brought him into the home. I poured my heart and soul in a building for us. You live with him like a married couple. What does that make me?" My eyes darkened. "I told you, over and over, that I hated him and wanted you to keep your distance. And what did you do? You danced with him, you kissed him, and now you have the nerve to tell me you don't want to break up? You want to make damn sure I'm the fool wearing the horns." I paused. "Now, please leave, or I'm calling security." Chloe suddenly dropped to her knees, hugging my legs. "Ethan, I was wrong. Kevin was just staying for a few days while his place was being renovated. I swear, I only love you." Her tears soaked my sweatpants. "You can't do this to me." I pried her fingers off me one by one. "Don't make this uglier than it has to be. We're finished, Chloe." I turned, closed the door, and left her screaming and cursing outside. After the noise died down, I knew she was gone. I packed a bag of my own things and left the house. I looked back at the place I once thought was my sanctuary, now tainted with too many memories, too many ghosts of Chloe. I sighed. This is killing my vibe. Coincidentally, we were pushing a big project at work. I decided to move back into my small downtown apartment. It would save me a ton of time on the commute. But really, I was hoping to bury myself in work and numb the pain. The change in me was obvious. My coworkers, a sharp bunch, noticed something was off. When Chloe and I were together, I was always rushing home after work to be with her. Now, I was the first one in and the last one out, a total workaholic. I always kept my work life and personal life separate, so my relationships with my colleagues were professional but friendly. We'd usually joke around at the end of the day. After the breakup, they noticed my mood and kept inviting me out for drinks. I politely declined, and they were understanding. I watched them leave, sighed again, and slapped my cheeks lightly. "What are you sighing for? You're sighing all your good luck away. Shouldn't I be acting more heartbroken right now?" Then I chuckled to myself. Who am I putting on a show for? I tidied my desk and was about to leave when my phone rang. It was Chloe. In a moment of weakness, I realized I hadn't blocked her number yet. I stared at the screen, not moving, but she was relentless, calling again and again. It suddenly hit me why protagonists in movies just snap their SIM cards in half. This incessant calling was maddening. Then another thought popped into my head. Maybe I should leave the country. But why should I? I wasn't the one who did something wrong. Besides, the company didn't have any overseas projects for me. With a sigh of resignation, I answered. Chloe's tearful voice came through the speaker. Ethan, it's been days. I haven't bothered you. Have you calmed down? Where are you? Why aren't you home? Do you really not want me anymore? Chloe, we're adults. We need to take responsibility for our actions. You know what that house meant to us. What does that make me? I was just helping him out a little. Why can't you understand that? Let's make it simple, Chloe. Would you keep eating from a bowl someone spat in? Why can't you try to understand me? I told you, over and over, that I hated Kevin. And what did you do? You treated my words like they were nothing. Ethan, you can't say that. Nothing happened between Kevin and me. Okay, fine. I promise you, if we get back together, I'll never see him again. I'll cut off all contact. I'll delete him right now. It's too late for that. Don't you see, Chloe? You knew what I hated, you knew what I didn't want you to do, and you did it anyway. You were testing my boundaries, pushing them bit by bit. But I've decided to let go, Chloe. You don't have to sacrifice anything. Whatever you do from now on has nothing to do with me. This is the last time I'm taking your call. Don't contact me again, and I won't contact you. No, Ethan, I don't agree. You know I love you. You have to believe me. You're the only one I've ever really loved. I'm sorry, but your actions don't deserve the word love. I can't trust you anymore, Chloe. Let's just leave it at that. I hung up, ignoring her sobs. My mood, which had been slowly improving, soured again. Why couldn't she just be decent about this? My cheek felt itchy. I wiped it with my hand and was surprised to find tears. I didn't go home. I stopped by a convenience store, bought 2 six-packs of beer, and walked to a lookout point by the Chicago River. I held the necklace I'd bought for Chloe in my hand and started drinking, can after can. It was a childish thought, but I hoped that for every beer I drank, I could forget one thing about her. If I finished them all, maybe I could forget her completely. Holding the necklace, I slurred to myself, this seems like a moment for poetry. Fuck love. I wrapped the necklace around an empty can and chucked it into the darkness. I didn't hear it land. Instead, I heard a solid thump. Then, a woman's angry voice cut through the night. What kind of asshole throws their trash like that? Have you got any public decency? I leaned forward and saw a girl glaring at me. In her hand was the empty can with the necklace wrapped around it. Yeah, you. Don't move. You just wait right there. Great, I thought. This is just my luck. I should get out of here. So, as she started running toward me from about 20 yards away, I got up and tried to vault over the back of the bench. I severely overestimated my drunken agility. I didn't clear it. I tumbled over. Just before I hit the ground, I vaguely heard her yell, "Son of a bitch." Then nothing. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. I rubbed my head, then felt the gauze on my face. I remember my failed vault. Landed on my face. I sighed. First, I get my heart broken. Now I'm disfigured. What year? A sharp voice from beside me cut in. Hey, you brain dead or something? You just woke up and you're already fiddling with your face. I finally noticed a cool-looking girl sitting by my bed. She had a bandage on her forehead and was looking at me with total disdain, her arms crossed. You drunk idiot. You hit me with a beer can, and then I'm the one who has to drag you to the hospital and pay for your bills. Tell me, what did I ever do to you? I was in a bad mood, went for a walk by the river, and not only do I get a lump on my head, I have to spend my own money. She shoved my phone in my face. Since you're awake, call your family. I've got things to do. I need to go home and rest. Listening to her rapid-fire tirade. I thought you're annoyed. Well, so am I. I'm sorry, I said. I don't remember any of that. I put on my best confused expression. She shot up from her chair, which scraped loudly behind her. What did you say? You don't remember? Don't you dare mess with me. Her voice cracked, on the verge of tears. You really don't remember? I rubbed my hair. Give me some time. Maybe when I'm better, I'll remember. Suddenly, real tears welled up in her eyes. You men are all the same. I'm down my last few bucks, and I spent it on your medical bills. I won't even be able to afford food when I leave this hospital. I looked at her. How'd you end up in such a rough spot? Because of you damn men, that's why. A person with a story. Hey, let's stick to the facts here. I didn't do anything to you. I came here from Milwaukee this morning for a bunch of interviews. They all told me they'd get back to me. I walked around all day, feeling miserable, so I went to the river to clear my head, and you hit me with a can. What else do you want to do to me? She started sobbing like a child, telling her story between tears. Seeing her like this, I found it kind of funny. I also felt a little guilty for my prank. All right, stop crying. My head is still ringing. If you keep crying, I won't be able to remember anything. She looked at me, her mouth still open in a sob. So what do we do? The hospital will want more money tomorrow, and you can't remember anything. We're going to get thrown out. I looked at her face, then glanced at her wrist. I saw the necklace I'd thrown away. That bracelet you're wearing. You could pawn that for a few $1,000s. Her crying stopped mid-sob with a little gasp. She looked down at the necklace on her wrist, then back at me. A few thousand? I nodded. Yeah, a few thousand. She held it up to her eyes, inspecting it. She saw the initials on the back of the pendant, and her eyes lit up. A fellow traveler, her expression changed in an instant, like a starving wolf spotting a fresh kill. A necklace this expensive with initials on it. And you just threw it away? She said, her eyes gleaming with gossip. Dude, did you get cheated on? My face went blank. I was speechless. Damn it. Did I just expose myself? I rolled my eyes and pulled the hospital blanket over my head. From outside my cocoon, I heard her cackling. What did I do to deserve this today? A minute ago, she was crying about being broke and getting kicked out. Now, the fire of gossip was burning so brightly, she'd completely forgotten her own misery. This girl was something else. She poked me through the blanket. You hungry? Not hungry, I mumbled. Well, I am. Then go eat. I told you I'm broke. I pulled the blanket down and looked at her. She held out my phone. Transfer me some money. My brain was still reeling from the shame of my self-exposure. I took the phone and saw the battery was at 10%. Your phone died. I borrowed a charger from the nurse's station to get it this far. By the way, a call came in right before it shut off. I answered, but it died as soon as I said hello. I didn't think much of it. I unlocked the phone with my fingerprint and immediately heard her giggling. I looked at her, then at my phone. I'd done it again. She held the phone up to my face. 1,800 should do it. As I was about to transfer her the money, she kept giggling. You unlocked that pretty smoothly for someone who forgot everything. I pretended to pull the phone back. You want this or not? No. Bro, my brother, I'll take it. I'm seriously about to starve. I glanced at the necklace. Then give me the necklace back. She immediately covered her wrist with her other hand. A real man doesn't go back on his word. You just said I could have it. I shifted into a more comfortable position. What did I say? I was giving it to you. You told me to pawn it. Besides, you're the one who threw it out. I found it, and it hit me. I haven't even asked you for damages. And she gave me a haughty little eye roll. I just stared at her without saying anything. She started to look guilty. And I paid your medical bills. I'm just a girl, and I had to carry you to the hospital. If I left you there, who knows what would have happened to you? Your promising future could have been ruined. Her voice got quieter as she spoke. I said, if you want to play it like that. You came here this morning, couldn't find a job, felt hopeless, and went to the river. What if you were thinking of jumping in? My necklace could have snapped you out of it. In a way, I saved your life. Her big, beautiful eyes widened. I knew it. You men are all the same. How can you even come up with such twisted logic? Hey, no personal attacks. If you're going to keep that up, you can give me back the necklace right now. Hearing that, she looked at the necklace, then at me. So you mean? I gave her a bitter smile. If you like it, keep it. Better to give it to my lifesaver than to a cheater. She suddenly grinned like a fox who'd just stolen chicken. I sat up and stretched my arms. What are you doing? She asked. Transferring you the money. I feel fine. I'm checking out. No way, she said urgently. You just woke up. Your tongue is still thick. What if there's something else wrong with you? I'll be in big trouble. Let's wait and see. At least until the doctor makes his rounds in the morning. I figured she had a point. I added her on WhatsApp. Her name was Maya King. Is that your real name? I asked, pointing at the screen. She nodded. Yep. I sent her the $1,800. She beamed and stood up. You're actually a pretty good guy. What do you want to eat? My treat. You're hungry. Just get something for yourself. I don't have an appetite. No way. You drank all that beer on an empty stomach. You have to eat something. Wait here, I'll go get it. She was a whirlwind of motion. Before she left the room, she turned back. How old are you? 27, I said without thinking. Call me Big Sis. Before I could reply, she was gone. Staring at the empty doorway, I couldn't help but smile. What a strange day this had been. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. The gauze on my face was comical. Great, I'm disfigured. Finding a wife is going to be tough now. As I was lost in thought, my phone rang. It was Chloe. I was about to hang up, but my finger accidentally hit the answer button. Before I could react, Chloe's sharp voice cut through the speaker. Ethan Hayes, who was that woman? I was completely confused. I thought of Maya. I looked around the room. Did Chloe develop superpowers? My voice turned to ice. Who it is none of your business. Chloe, how many times do I have to tell you? We're broken up. I don't agree, Ethan. I didn't do anything. Why are you breaking up with me? Is it because of that woman? I'll say one more time, Chloe. are done. Who I'm with and what I'm doing has nothing to do with you anymore. Go back to your precious Kevin. Let's have some dignity and stop contacting each other, okay? I don't agree to the breakup. Chloe's voice was thick with tears. Ethan, you love me. You're just using another woman to make me jealous, right? Let's not break up, okay? I never thought ending a relationship would be this hard, or that Chloe would be this persistent. Chloe, get a grip. It's over. Don't force me to delete and block you. There was a few seconds of silence on her end. Don't. Ethan, just calm down for a bit. Wait for me. I'll win you back. I didn't bother to reply. She had already hung up. I stared at my phone, bewildered. If she loved me so much, why did she keep doing the things she knew I hated? Why did she never consider my feelings until I was ready to give up? I let out a bitter laugh. Too little, too late. A love that shows up after the fact is worth less than dirt. Before I could sink back into misery, Maya returned with 2 bags. It's so late. Everything was closed. I finally found one place that was still open, so I just got a few things. She had bought 2 containers of soup, some side dishes, and a huge box of spicy takeout noodles. I looked up at her. Isn't this a bit much? I just got drunk and fell over. You didn't have to get the whole sick person special. She looked embarrassed. Well, you were in the hospital. I figured we needed to set the mood. I laughed despite myself and helped her set up the small table by the bed. I pointed at the spicy noodles. I want some of that. She immediately covered the box with her hands. This is for me. It's not patient food. I looked at her amused. You're this stingy when you're treating someone? She reluctantly pushed the box toward me. Fine, but just a little. I haven't eaten all day. I wasn't really hungry, so I just watched her eat. So, why'd you decide to move from Milwaukee to Chicago? Her chopsticks paused. She sighed and looked at me. If I tell you, you can't laugh at me. I touched the gauze on my face. I look like this. I'm not about to laugh at anyone. A small smile touched her lips. A turf war. I couldn't stay in Milwaukee anymore. I broke out in a cold sweat, staring at her curiously. Is this a novel come to life? You're not some mob boss's daughter, are you? She shook her head and put a fishball in her mouth, chewing thoughtfully. Her expression grew dark. I fell for a guy. I was his doormat for 2 years. I didn't say anything, just listened. It was like she'd opened a floodgate. He had this childhood sweetheart, the one that got away. I liked him while they were together, just quietly from a distance. Then she dumped him for someone else. I thought it was my chance. I chased him for 2 years. 2 years, Ethan. Like a pathetic dog. Last week, he finally said yes. Tears started rolling down her cheeks. I quickly handed her a napkin. Wipe your face before you flood the place. She shot me an annoyed look, wiped her eyes, and continued. You know, for 2 years, it was like I was under a spell. I was crazy about him. Everyone called me a doormat. But I just thought I was loving someone with all my heart. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. Why was I treated like I'd committed some terrible crime? The moment he agreed to be with me, I felt like all the ridicule was worth it. But my happiness didn't even last a day. His precious ex came back. The 2 of them got back together, and I was dumped like an idiot. Fat tears dropped from her eyes. Her shoulders shook as she choked back sobs. I tried to comfort her. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's not wrong to love someone. We just loved the wrong person with everything we had. You're a great girl. If he let you go, it's his loss. Maybe it was fate. Maybe there's someone better waiting for you, just around the corner. She looked at me, through her tears, biting her lower lip to control her emotions. Her cheeks were flushed. You think so, you drunk? I touched my nose sheepishly. I mean it. You really are great. She looked at me, and for some reason, her face turned even redder. She looked down and continued eating. So, what happened next? You decided to change scenery and come to Chicago. She picked up a slice of potato and bit into it forcefully. There's more. Kindred spirits, he and his precious one that got away were out celebrating with a few friends. He called me, said he had something to talk about. Putting the empty container down, she looked at me. How do you feel? A little better. The unexpected kindness was a strange sort of warmth. Thanks. Much better. A little bland, though. Hearing that, she picked up a fishball with her chopsticks. I watched as she moved it toward the middle of the table. Then at the last second, she swerved and dropped it back in her own bowl. I saw her face flush, and she pointed at her spicy noodles with her chopsticks. This has more flavor. You can try some. This girl's antics were a ray of light in my otherwise bleak few days. I smiled and pulled a napkin from the dispenser to wipe a smudge of oil from the corner of her mouth, but my hand froze as it got close. It was a gesture I had done for Chloe 1,000 times. We looked at each other, both of us suddenly awkward. She quickly took the napkin from my hand and wiped her own mouth. Thanks, she said softly. Ahem. I cleared my throat, changing the subject. So what's your plan now? I have one more interview tomorrow. I'll see how it goes. She poked at the food in her bowl. I don't have much money left. I need to find a cheap motel to stay in until I can find a job. I looked around the hospital room. Just crash here tonight. I'll get you a hotel room in the morning. Let me know how the interview goes, win or lose. I'll take you out to dinner. When I mentioned getting her a hotel, her eyes lit up, but she seemed even happier about the dinner offer, grinning from ear to ear. Okay. Drunkie, you my lucky charm. A dark cloud passed over my face. Hold on. 1 minute it's bro, the next it's drunkie. Let's start over. My name is Ethan Hayes, your friendly neighborhood, Ethan. A man of few words, but a lot of action. She rolled her eyes. You talk more than my neighbor's grandma. Man of few words, my ass. She covered her mouth, trying to stifle a giggle. I shook my head, defeated. I had made a complete fool of myself in front of this girl today. So, Ethan, she said, are we friends now? Yeah, of course we are. We've been through the ringer together. We've shared soup together. From now on, your problems are my problems. You better mean that. This girl had a very cheerful personality. We ended up talking for hours about everything from food to alien life. She was an easy person to talk to. I couldn't remember the last time I'd had such a relaxed conversation, at least not with Chloe. With Chloe, the topics were always Kevin, her friends, or shopping. Maybe because she hadn't really worked since we started dating. Her world had become so small. Looking at the animated girl in front of me, she suddenly hit me with, this is technically a man and a woman sharing a room alone. I broke out in a cold sweat. What kind of weird logic is that? Where did that even come from? I was just wondering, when you were simping for that jerk, did you talk to him like this? She rolled her eyes. Oomph. Back then, I was a perfect lady. I grinned. Maybe if you'd shown your true colors, he would have said yes sooner. She shook her head vehemently. No way. He definitely wouldn't have. By the time I showed my true colors, I'd already slapped him a dozen times. Her expression was haughty, her movements adorable. I couldn't help but laugh. She just glared at me with a pout. Seeing that her intimidation tactics weren't working, I laughed even harder. She, in turn, realized her threats were useless and huffed. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. In the end, I gave her the hospital bed and took the cot myself. We spent the night in the same room. The next morning, the doctor on duty confirmed I was fine, and I was discharged. After leaving the hospital, I took her to my favorite breakfast spot. The girl ate like she hadn't seen food in a week. I watched her amused. You don't have to do that. You got a few $1,000s hanging on your wrist, Her eyes sparkled. That's different. This necklace is going to be a family heirloom. She squinted at me, smiling, and don't even think about asking for it back. Seeing her bright smile, I remembered bringing Chloe here. Chloe was always so picky, either complaining the food was too greasy or not to her taste. Nothing like the girl in front of me, who was clearly enjoying every bite. I teased her again. You're not even trying to hold anything back with me, are you? She took a sip of her orange juice, licked the corner of her mouth, and gave me a look. You've already seen me at my worst. What's the point? Pretending is exhausting. Yeah, you're right about that. As we were leaving the diner, we ran right into Chloe and Kevin. Kevin's head was still bandaged from where I'd hit him. When Chloe saw me with Maya, she immediately flew into a rage. Since we'd just come from the hospital, both Maya and I looked a little rough, like we just rolled out of bed. Chloe blocked our path, pointing at Maya. Ethan, who is this woman? Were you two together last night? How could you? I looked at her, exasperated. You've been with Kevin this whole time, and you have the nerve to question me? Besides, I told you clearly, we are broken up. Stop harassing me. It's pathetic. Kevin suddenly chimed in. Ethan Hayes, you hit me last time, and I haven't even settled the score with you. Now you're accusing me and Chloe? See my head? You're going to pay me at least $10,000 for this, or I'll kill you. I gave him a cold look. Have you no shame? I let the damage to my house slide because of my history with Chloe, but don't think for a second I can't deal with you. Hearing me mention my history with Chloe, a flicker of hope appeared in her eyes. She ran to my side and grabbed my arm. Ethan, I knew you still loved me, right? Don't leave me. We can go back to how things were. Before I could say anything, a hand shot out and knocked her hand off my arm. Then, Maya wrapped her arms around mine. Listen, ex-girlfriend, have some self-respect. Take your little childhood friend and get lost. My Ethan doesn't want to see you. Hearing her sickly sweet voice, I was momentarily speechless. Maya was clinging to my arm, a shy expression on her makeup-free face. It was kind of comical. I almost laughed, but I was also deeply touched. I knew she was doing this to help me, to save face, and to finally sever the tie with Chloe, even if it meant causing trouble for herself. Chloe's eyes were red. It's all your fault, you bitch. You're the reason Ethan left me. Why don't you just die? She lunged at Maya, her hands like claws. I blocked her, pushing her aside. She stumbled and fell to the ground, and Kevin quickly helped her up. The scene was a replay of the one at the house, but this time, the look in Chloe's eyes wasn't hurt. It was pure venom. Ethan, you push me for her? You really don't love me anymore. Maya mimicked her tone. Don't make me get nasty. If you try to touch me again, you can forget about Ethan ever speaking to you again. Oomph. She then glanced at Kevin and said to Chloe, take your one that got away and get out of my Ethan's sight. New beginnings. I pulled Maya away from the scene, Chloe's cries echoing behind us. Once we were clear, I didn't thank Maya. I just took her to a nearby hotel, checked her into a room, and told her to get some rest and prepare for her interview. In the lobby, I handed her the key card. Get some rest. Call me after your interview, no matter how it goes. I'm taking you to dinner tonight. Her eyes sparkled. Okay. I watched her get on the elevator, then pulled out my phone and made a call. Hey, Marco. What's up? A gravelly voice answered on the other end. You busy? Spit it out. I'm sending you a file on someone. I want you to look into him. The guy's a scumbag. See if he's into gambling, drugs, anything. Whether he owes money to loan sharks, has some nasty disease, whatever. The worse, the better. Money's no object. What did he do? Sounds like you want him gone. He's a piece of trash. Just dig up what you can. I don't need the details, just make it clean. Give me the final result. I hung up, thinking of Kevin's arrogant face, and sneered. Garbage. Let's see how you like this. That afternoon, Maya called me. Good news. I got the job. I took her to my favorite Sichuan restaurant to celebrate. She excitedly told me all about her interview, then looked at me with a huge smile. I think my luck turned around after I met you. Then you better stay on my good side. Maybe I can spare some more good luck for you. She wrinkled her nose at me. No thanks. Have you found a place to live yet? She put her chopsticks down, looking a little embarrassed. I was thinking of maybe sleeping at the office for a bit, just until I get my first paycheck. I looked at her, amused. That's not going to work. I had this girlfriend I was planning to marry, but her heart wasn't in it, so the house we bought has just been sitting empty. If you don't mind, you can stay there for now. No way. Isn't that your marital home? I took a sip of my drink and waved my hand. It's fine. I was going to sell it anyway. I'm not in a rush for the money. You can stay there. If you feel weird about it, you can pay rent. How much? Whatever you think is fair. Like I said, I'm not desperate. Her face suddenly turned bright red, and she slapped the table. Hey, stop being so nice to me. You're making me feel awkward. I'm nice to you because you deserve it, I said, looking at her. Now hurry up and eat. Your face is as red as a tomato. She slapped the table again. Hey, that's so mean. You can't say that to a girl. You're a total tomboy. Don't try to act all delicate now. She just huffed in response. After dinner, we went back to the hotel to get her things, and I drove her to the house I was once supposed to share with Chloe. It had been nearly a month since I'd been back. The place that held 3 years of memories now felt like it belonged to someone else. Maya ran through the house, her eyes wide. She came back to me, amazed. Here, I can really live here. I nodded, not saying anything. Being back here brought up too many bad memories. I didn't even feel like talking. The house still looked cold and empty from the damage and the decorations I'd had removed. A lump formed in my throat, and I quickly rubbed my nose. I didn't realize I had it in me to be this sentimental. Maya sensed my shift in mood. She came and stood by me, tugging on my sleeve. This must be really hard for you, she said softly. I bet there were a lot of happy memories here. I was silent for a moment, then looked at her. What do you think? This was supposed to be her house, the place for the woman I was going to marry. Of course, I had expectations. I took a deep breath. Just stay here for now. Call me if you need anything. As I was about to leave, she tugged on my sleeve again. Ethan, this house. Is it okay if I make a few small changes? I smiled at her. Sure. Just don't go too crazy. Her eyes lit up. I won't. I promise I won't mess it up for when you sell it. I waved my hand dismissively. Go for it. Just make sure you still have a place to sleep. In the days that followed, life returned to normal. Chloe slowly faded from my memory, while Maya would text me throughout the day, either just to chat or to send me pictures of little things she'd added to the house or small renovations she was doing. The girl was incredibly handy. She bought her own materials and was putting things together herself, and it looked great. She'd share her design ideas with me over text, or tell me about funny things that happened at work. Her cheerful personality made her an instant hit with her colleagues. You would never guess this was the same girl who had been a doormat for 2 years. Her nickname for me evolved from Ethan and Drunky to Mr. Landlord. I thought things would continue on like this, peacefully. Then one day, the front desk called me. Mr. Hayes, there's a Ms. Reed downstairs to see you. It had to be Chloe, a woman I hadn't heard from in a long time. When I got downstairs, Chloe was standing in the lobby. She looked exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. The vibrant, glamorous woman I used to be with was gone. She forced a smile when she saw me and held up a lunchbox. Ethan, I cut her off by holding up a hand to stop her. Let's go sit somewhere. I turned and walked away without looking back. The light in her eyes dimmed, and she followed me silently. I took her to a coffee shop next to my office building. Ever since I got back, every time we've met, it's been a fight. Let's just talk today. Ethan, I'm sorry. Chloe, I'm not here for an explanation. I interrupted. I'm here to make things perfectly clear. One last time, we are broken up. We are never getting back together. Let yourself move on and let me move on. Ethan, you know I love you. Chloe, don't use that word anymore. I looked at the lunchbox she brought. It was part of a matching set we'd bought on a trip once. Did you know? You and Kevin were neighbors, grew up together. For 2 years, your parents were working out of town, and you lived with his family. His mother treated you like her own daughter. That's where your bond comes from. You two were a couple in middle school and high school. Then you broke up. You had a boyfriend in college, and you broke up with him because of Kevin too. And then you met me. Chloe looked at me in shock. You? I held up a hand to stop her. What I don't understand is, if you two can't let each other go, why do you have to drag other people into your mess? I don't want to be cruel, so let's just leave it at this. Don't contact me again. I'm begging you. For your own dignity. I stood up to leave. Chloe suddenly blocked my way. Ethan, did you break up with me because of that woman? I saw you let her move into our house. I looked at her, my face a mask of indifference. Us not working out has nothing to do with anyone else. She's just a tenant in that house. Chloe, don't drag innocent people into our problems. Unless you want to force me to move in there to protect her. Before I left, I added one last thing. Stay away from Kevin. You can't afford his karma. This is your last warning. I tapped the table and walked away. Chloe's lips moved, but no words came out. She just stared at the table, muttering, Ethan Hayes, you will regret this. The next day, I had just gotten to the office when my phone rang. It was my assistant, Alex. His voice was tense. Mr. Hayes, the front desk, says Ms. Reed is downstairs causing a scene. She says if you don't come down, she's going to jump from the building. The pen in my hand froze. Have security handle it. We tried. She's clinging to the railing, and she cut her wrist. I sighed and grabbed my jacket. As the elevator doors opened, I could hear Chloe's hysterical screams. Get Ethan Hayes down here. He'll be responsible for my death. In the middle of a crowd of onlookers, Chloe stood, disheveled and reeking of alcohol. There were several shallow cuts on her left wrist, and in her right hand, she clutched a picture frame, a photo of us. Chloe, I said. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the chaos and silenced her instantly. Ethan, she stumbled toward me, the smell of liquor radiating from her. I knew you still cared about me. You came. I took a step back, avoiding her touch. Security, call an ambulance. I'm not going to the hospital. Chloe suddenly tore open her collar, revealing a tattoo on her collarbone. My name. See, I'll always be yours. What's so good about that bitch? Is she prettier than me? Is she? Enough. I cut her off sharply. Maya is my friend. Please show some respect. I turned to the security guards. Get her out of here, and she's not allowed in this building ever again. Chloe suddenly burst into manic laughter and smashed the picture frame on the ground. Amid the flying shards of glass, she picked one up and held it to her neck. Ethan Hayes, if you walk away today, I'll die right here. The crowd gasped. I, however, calmly took out my phone and started recording. Chloe, your every action is being recorded. If you get hurt, it will be your own choice, and it will have nothing to do with anyone else. A real home, that cold, business-like tone completely broke her. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. How could you be so cruel? I gave you so much. Gave me so much. A flicker of anger finally showed on my face. Was it giving when you let another man move into our home behind my back? Was it giving when you threw a party in our future home while I was away, then told your boyfriend who just got off a plane to get a hotel and locked him out? Was it giving when you constantly put some childhood flame before your actual boyfriend? Or was it giving when you harassed me again and again after we broke up? The paramedics arrived quickly and gave Chloe a sedative. As they loaded her onto the stretcher, she was still muttering, "You'll regret this. No one will ever love you like I do." After dealing with the Chloe situation, I was in a foul mood. I glanced around aimlessly and saw a familiar face in the crowd. A girl, sweating and looking anxious. It was Maya. Our offices weren't far from each other. I could tell she had run all the way here. I walked over to her and managed a bitter smile. She fidgeted awkwardly, rubbing her hands together. I saw a video of it at work. I was worried, so I ran over. I don't know what came over me, but I reached out, gently brushed the hair sticking to her forehead, and wiped away the sweat. Thank you. Her face turned a light shade of pink. She looked up at me and smiled. I got my first paycheck today. Let me buy you dinner. Okay, I said, looking at her. Then come over to our place tonight. I'll cook for you. Okay. Her eyes lit up. It's a date. Yep. The truth was, the incident with Chloe had really gotten to me. I was in a funk all day. After work, I stopped by the grocery store, thinking I'd cook for Maya instead. As I drove back to that place I once called my sanctuary, the sky was already growing dark. When I pulled up, the front door of the house was open, and a warm light spilled out onto the porch. A small figure in a scarf stood on her tiptoes, waving at me. It was Maya. In that moment, my hands started to tremble. This scene, this was what I had dreamed of for years. Only the person in the picture was different. A sudden wave of sorrow washed over me, and I felt like all the strength had been drained from my body. I squatted down by the side of the road and let the tears stream down my face. All the pent-up frustration, anger, and disappointment finally found a way out. You must be really hurting, Maya's voice said softly beside me. It was gentle, careful. It's okay to cry. I made a lot of good food. When you're done, we can go inside and eat. Her words almost made me laugh. She was treating me like a child who needed to be comforted. But strangely, I found myself craving that simple, direct kindness. I was about to say something, but her next words cut me off, and the dark cloud over me seemed to lift, leaving me somewhere between tears and laughter. Or maybe we should eat first, then you can cry. The food will get cold. She reached out a hand to pull me up. I roughly wiped my face. I'm okay. Let's go. I want to see what you've made. When I stepped inside the house, I froze. The living room, which had been a cold, damaged shell, was now completely transformed. It wasn't lavish, but it was filled with warmth. A soft knit blanket was draped over the sofa. A vase of fresh sunflowers sat on a coffee table, and small, charming illustrations she had painted hung on the walls. Even the lighting was a warm, inviting glow. You did all this? I asked, my voice a little hoarse. She puffed out her chest proudly and gave me a thumbs up. Pretty cool, right? I did it bit by bit after work and on weekends. This house always felt so empty before. Doesn't it feel like a home now? I looked at all the little details, all the signs of life, and my nose started to sting. This was it. This was the feeling of home that I had been searching for, the feeling Chloe and I could never create. The empty space we left behind, she had filled, piece by piece, with her own 2 hands. What am I going to do? I said, looking at her, half joking, half serious. I don't think I can sell this house anymore. She blinked, then her cheeks turned a soft pink. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other. So don't sell it. I put all this work into it. You can't let it all go to waste, right? But it's a big expense for a guy who needs to save up to get married. What if my future girlfriend doesn't like this house? Who wouldn't like it? She suddenly exclaimed, puffing out her chest and marching up to me. Fine, I'll be your girlfriend. I'll marry you. Then no one can complain, okay? I looked at her. She was trying to sound so defiant, but her ears were bright red, and there was a flicker of nervousness in her eyes. I didn't say anything. I just reached out and pulled her into my arms. Her body went stiff for a second, then slowly relaxed. Her small hands hesitantly rested on my back. You jerk, she mumbled into my chest, her voice thick with emotion. Do you know how scared I was? I thought you wouldn't like it, that you'd hate what I did to the place. I love it, I said, tightening my arms around her, resting my chin on the top of her head. I love it. This is the best home I've ever seen. That night, we had a wonderful dinner. Her cooking was amazing. I couldn't help but tease her. Did you learn these skills when you were being a doormat? She glared at me and stuffed a piece of pork into my mouth. I learned them back then, but you're the first one who's ever gotten to taste it. She paused, then added softly, I only ever bought him breakfast. I never got a chance to show off these skills. Then that's his loss, I said after swallowing. From now on, I'll be eating this every day. Her eyes sparkled. She didn't argue, just looked down at her rice, a smile playing on her lips. I clapped my hands together and pulled a small velvet box from my pocket, pushing it across the table to her. This is for you. Her eyes shining, she opened the box. Inside was a silver bracelet with a snowflake charm, engraved with her initials. She looked at it in surprise, her expression a mix of disbelief and joy. She looked from the bracelet to me, but she didn't seem to want to take off the necklace she was still wearing. What's wrong? I asked. I don't want to take this one off. Don't you think it was this necklace that helped you find me? You know, you're right. To hell with childhood sweethearts. To hell with the one that got away. Ethan Hayes, you were my destiny. A beer can falling from the sky, I corrected. Speaking of which, how come you only kept the necklace? The can was the real hero. Ugh, Ethan, you're such a buzzkill, she whined. She picked up the new bracelet and leaned across the table. So, You've been plotting to get with me too, huh? I tapped the table. That too is very important. You're the one who made the first move. She wasn't annoyed at all, just grinned. Who cares who said it first? All that matters is that I have my destiny now, and someone who thinks about me. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. I quickly got up and hugged her. Then were them both. Double the insurance. She rested her head on my chest and mumbled, Ethan, you better not be lying to me. I know how to flip tables. After dinner, we went for a walk around the neighborhood. When we got back, she pointed to a pile of materials in the corner of the living room. There are still a few things I haven't finished. The flower stand for the balcony and the bookshelf for the study. Starting tomorrow, we'll do it together, I said, looking at her. You be the boss, I'll be the muscle. She grabbed my arm, her eyes shining. Really? Really? I said, ruffling her hair. After all, it's our home now. I should probably contribute something. She was so happy she swung my arm back and forth, chattering away about how she wanted to design the flower stand and what kind of flowers to get. All the shyness from dinner was gone. She was like a happy little bird. There was no trace of the tough girl I'd first met, the one who would curse out a stranger in a hospital or flip a table when wronged. She was just a sweet girl who knew how to be playful. In the following days, we bought materials and worked on DIY projects for our little home. Life was full and sweet. One day, Maya said she was craving seafood, so we went to a nearby mall to buy ingredients. After we checked out, Maya realized she'd forgotten a specific sauce and asked me to wait for her by the entrance while she ran back in. I sat on a bench, scrolling through my phone. A familiar perfume drifted past me. A familiar dress and shoes appeared in my line of sight. I didn't look up. Chloe, I thought we made ourselves clear. Don't come looking for me anymore. I have a new life now. You should stop looking back and start your own. It's not that easy, Ethan, she said, her voice stubborn. I chuckled and finally looked up, meeting her eyes with an icy stare. She instinctively took a step back. Chloe, I know you and Kevin broke up, and I have to say, you made the right choice. But if you keep this up, I suggest you go check on him. I paused, lowering my voice. He's in deep with loan sharks and has a whole host of nasty diseases. The best thing for him right now would be a quick death. Otherwise, he's going to live the rest of his life like a maggot in the gutter. I watched her face go pale. Out of respect for our 3 years together, a clean break is the most decency I can offer you. Don't force my hand. Chloe staggered back, her eyes wide with fear. Ethan, you. She took a sharp breath, composing herself, then suddenly looked toward the mall entrance. All women are the same. Let's see you get through today first. Following her gaze, I saw a tall, handsome man walking toward the entrance. The end of the beginning just then, Maya came out with her sauce and other items, a smile on her face. She practically skipped over to the guy. They exchanged a few words, and he gestured toward an alley on the side of the mall. Maya turned to look at me, noticed Chloe standing beside me, and gave me a small smile and a wave. Her old flame is here. She's saying goodbye to you, Chloe said, gloating. I looked at her deadpan. Which part of that looked like goodbye to you? That was clearly a follow me. But the sauce she just bought. I mumbled, about to call out to her, when I heard her voice from the alley. Ethan, help. Ethan, there's a creep in here. Chloe froze. Aren't you worried? Of course I'm worried. Why else would I be following her? I said, walking toward the alley. When we got there, the scene that greeted us left Chloe speechless. The ground was littered with shattered jars of sauce and vegetables. The handsome man from before was lying shirtless on the ground, and Maya was repeatedly stomping on his face and kicking him in the stomach. Ethan, help. There's a creep, she yelled between kicks. To hell with childhood sweethearts. To hell with the one that got away. Maya cursed as she kicked him. About my destiny now. You really think I'm that stupid? You want to try and trick me again? I still owe you for what you pulled in Milwaukee. Today, we settle the score. She looked up and saw me, her eyes lighting up. She pointed at the guy on the ground. Cheaters like you shouldn't even dream of a second chance. If I ever see you again, I'll beat you down again. Chloe stared at the scene in horror. But you looked so happy to go with him. If you don't like him, why did you? Maya scoffed. At the same time, she and I said in unison, there are no cameras here. After we said it, Maya's grin widened. See? Ethan gets me. Why wouldn't I be happy to finally get a chance to beat him up myself? It's a shame about the groceries, though, she said, kicking a stray piece of lettuce. We'll have to go again. I looked at her, amused. Never mind that. The real question is, did it feel good? So good. I've been holding that in for a long time. Then we have to celebrate. Forget cooking. Let's go out to eat. Yes, let's go. Maya cheered. I turned to Chloe. It was something, but let's not see each other again. Chloe watched as Maya linked her arm through mine. She suddenly smiled, a weary, knowing smile. I really don't fit into your world anymore, do I? Look forward, Chloe. No one is indispensable in this world. I gave her a small nod and walked away with Maya. A year later, Maya and I stood at the altar. Looking at the beautiful woman in the wedding dress, I thought back to our first meeting by the river. I thought of us pouring our hearts out in the hospital and all the sweet, simple moments we'd shared over the past year. It turns out that ending a toxic relationship and leaving the wrong person doesn't mean you lose anything. It means you make space for real happiness to find you. One day, I received a money transfer from Chloe for $2,000. The message said it was compensation for the damage to the house. She wrote that she had moved to a new city and started a new life. She met a lot of people and realized how wrong she had been. $2,000 wasn't much, but it was all she had saved up, and it was her way of apologizing. I declined the transfer, deleted the message, and blocked her number. My life was happy. I didn't need to look back, and I didn't need any more apologies.